Hello there, it's Brave here again. Welcome to my channel. Um, I'm multiracial and it's Black History Month, and I want to honour my African DNA, my African ancestors. Even though I have multiple ancestries, I've got Scottish, Irish, Swedish, Indian, what do you call it, South American, indigenous, all sorts of things. And then I've got my beautiful African DNA that comes via Jamaica, because unfortunately slavery took the West Africans through the terrible transatlantic slave trade and took them to places like Jamaica, Cuba, Brazil, America, many different places around the world, where sadly many people of African ancestry suffered terrible atrocities, unforgivable atrocities. And it's very hard for me not to focus on the bad stuff, because it is a massive, unforgivable thing that happened for hundreds of years, and not enough people did enough to stop it. And so even though I'm a generation far removed from that terrible, you know part in history, that those hundreds of years, those many decades, even though I'm, you know of the generation, the modern generation, I haven't been put in chains, but I never ever forget that if slavery was not abolished and stopped, I would be in chains, and I never forget that. And that's why I always respect my African ancestry. I always correct people who mistake me for other races. I always say, no, this is what I am. And I always mention the African DNA first. The oh, excuse me. The fact that my identity is Afro-Caribbean, Jamaican identity, even though I have lots of ancestry, so I'm mixed race, multiracial, whatever you want to call it. But my identity was always, I am a Jamaican descendant, I have African ancestry. That was the most important ancestry to me, because those were the people I grew up around. I didn't really grow up around my Scottish family or my white ancestors. I didn't grow up around them. I mean, I grew up around white people and Indian people and Chinese people, but I mean actual relatives who were not mixed race or black. I only grew up mostly in the household, in my home, and in my close community around those who looked like me, or who were mixed, or who were looking like my African ancestors. So I don't have anything against anyone who's not black or mixed. I'm just saying that it is my choice to focus on my cultural heritage that belongs to that group, because that's who I grew up around. But I don't have any problem with my white ancestry. I respect the Scottish I have. I've learnt I've learnt a lot about the Scottish traditions and customs and stuff. I've lived in Scotland for a long time. I've learnt about the Indian that I have. I've learnt about, the Swedish and the Scandinavian stuff. I've learnt about all of it. So I'm a historian. I know everything. I don't mean that in a braggy way. I just mean I've learnt everything by choice. No one had to force it on me. Oh, you're this or you're that. Culturally, I chose which part of my ancestry is more influential to me. And so if anyone asked me, what are you? I would say I'm a mixed race Jamaican. But then they say, but you're born in England. Okay, fine, I'm British because I have a British passport, but that's not my influence. I was born in London. I can call myself a Londoner, but at the same time, someone else will try and make you feel like you're not a Londoner because your skin is brown. You know what I mean? So I don't give a shit about all that crap. I'm born in London. I'm a Londoner. Deal with it. I don't care. I don't give a shit if you like it or not. Certain racist people will be like, "Oh, you're not English." I never said I was English. So shove it up your ass. But yeah. So like I said, I don't want anyone who's not black or from a Jamaican or African background, or who's not mixed. I don't want you to feel like I'm not welcoming all races. I am. I'm just celebrating my black ancestry, my African ancestry, and everyone should feel proud to be who they are without hurting others and degrading others because they are not part of your group. I hope I said that clearly. Yeah, because I'm not saying that if you're white, you can't be proud to be white. If you're Chinese, you can't be proud to be Chinese. But you should never be so cruel and racist or nasty or discriminating to tell someone else, because you're not part of our group, because you don't have the same features as us, or you're not the same race as us, you are beneath us, you are animals, you are not human. That is wrong. Racism is wrong, discrimination is wrong, sexism is wrong, homophobia is wrong. You know, we all need to live and let live. So yeah, I'm very sick of this stupid, evil world that just won't let people live normally. You know, people always going out of their way to hurt others. And I find that disgusting. It infuriates me. You know, you should be able to love who you love, marry who you want. Doesn't matter if you're different cultures. That's your personal business. You know what I mean? The family you create and look after is no one's business but your own. And people should learn to live and let live. Or, you know, if you don't like something, keep that shit to yourself. Shut your mouth and go and live your own life. Mind your own business, you know. But I hate the people who go out of their way to hurt others, whether it's physically or, you know, stopping them getting jobs or stopping them getting a nice place to live, or, you know, bullying people online, like just because they're not the same color as you, or they're not the same religion as you, or, you know. And yeah, it's just revolting. I hate this world. Anyway, I have a beautiful poem I've written myself, and it's dedicated to my African ancestors, who were sadly taken during slavery. Obviously, that's how they ended up in Jamaica, and that's how my family, down to my parents' line, some of them were born in Jamaica. And yeah, so the title is Stolen Warriors, Unconquerable and Unperishable Ones. So here goes. My dear ancestors, brave and wise, of magnificent power regal, born to warrior kings and queens, free and fierce, just like a mighty eagle. Across land and sea, men of evil and greedy minds descended upon the land of my ancestors to see what riches they could find. No one they found was spared from this cruel atrocity, and the evil of the slave trade continued for many a vile century. All culture, all dignity, and all identity was cruelly stripped away, and my dear ancestors were trapped and had no say. But a warrior's spirit can never be broken. Rebellions were fought, and the battle cry of freedom was spoken. Many lives were given in the hopes that slavery would be driven from all corners of this earth, but things progressed slowly and painfully through blood and pain, just like birth. My noble dear ancestors, of whom were treated so rotten, your story is so important to me, and you shall never be forgotten. So I wrote that, and I really do, you know, encourage everyone to respect your ancestors, the pain and suffering they went through. You know, it's something you should always remember. It doesn't matter that you didn't have the same experiences as them, because their struggles, and when they fought back against oppression, that made it easier for your generation to have opportunities, to be in positions that they were not allowed to be in because of racism, because of corruption, because of evil. So never ever forget where you come from, because that bloodline and that blood that's in your veins, there's a genetic memory in that, and people don't understand that. We come from, you know, warriors. Before Portuguese and other Europeans went to Africa to plunder it and you know, hurt the people and take the people, there were so many amazing cities, and it was so civilized and rich and intelligent, and they were amazed and jealous. Europeans were amazed and jealous that, wow, we've sailed to this place and they have stuff that is more advanced than us. They stole, and this is a fact, this is historically proven, they stole certain intelligent things they found, like navigational skills, maps that were already showing that Africans had even traveled and all around the world, and went to even America and had traded with Native Americans before Columbus. So how could Columbus have discovered America when Native Americans were already there? He just got lost and ended up in America, what we now call America, you know? Um, Even the Vikings went all over the world. They just didn't leave monuments behind, you know what I mean? Some places like Vikings have been there, they just went there, plundered and left and went back to their home, you know? Or if a few did stay, they just married into the local population. Why do you think some people in like the Middle East have red hair? That recessive gene that comes from the Vikings who went over to, you know, the Middle East and were over there in the Middle Ages and during the Crusades. Well, no, before that. Way before that. What am I talking about? But yeah, there's so much obvious history that people don't talk about or they don't want to believe it. Like, for instance, in England, there's a place called Cheddar, and there's some really ancient caves, and they found a skeleton in the cave, and this person was like way, 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 way back. I'm talking like what we might call caveman days, you know, but he's a human, but he's they did DNA testing and it turns out he wasn't a pale skinned person. His DNA showed he had blue eyes, but he had dark brown skin like an Australian Aborigine. So he was looking like an Australian Aborigine with dark brown skin, curly black hair, but blue eyes. Now, how do you explain that? I can't explain that, but that is what they found. But people didn't want to believe it. But before they did the DNA, when they told people, oh, yeah, I'm sure he looked like this, and they drew a picture of a pale skinned, you know, man with long curly brown hair and blue eyes, everyone believed it. Everyone was okay with it. Like, yeah, I'm sure that's what he looked like. With no proof, they believed it. But when the proof was given to them, oh, by the way, this person somehow, you know, like how people say, you know, we all came from Africa and then some went towards the colder countries, and the ones who stayed in Africa has kept dark skin because it helps protect the skin. The melanin helps protect the skin from the sun, right? So the ones who went to the colder climates, having pale skin and no melanin protects you against the cold or makes you not feel as cold for some weird reason. And because of you know, like, I can't explain why there's Afro type hair and straight European hair. I can't explain that. Don't ask me why. I can't explain why there's multiple different people, why when two different races of people mix, they create another set of people who, you know, don't match either one, you know? Like, it's very confusing, but and however, it's weird how throughout history people don't want to believe the truth. It's like they say history is written by the victor, whoever has the control, and whatever they want the agenda to be or for the world to believe, that is what will get written and people will believe it. And it's like, I watched this documentary where there was some, I think it was like mummified bodies found along the Silk Road, you know, so when people were on their way to China to trade with the Chinese, and they said, oh, these people look European. But, and I was like, yeah, so what's so miraculous or scary that Europeans made it to China? And they were like, well, we don't have any written history telling us that Europeans made it to China at this time when the fabric on the mummies were, you know, when they died, because they, you know, carbon dated or whatever they do, uh the fabric they were wearing a kind of tartan that was only found in the Celts did it or something in England or something, maybe the Scots. And then it was so weird to me, like, well, why would you have a written, you know, document for every person throughout history who moved around? This is not possible. Yes, it is possible for some people to have travelled. They might have got shipwrecked and ended up in a place and then, you know, lodged and settled with a community who saved them, and then they moved around the country they'd got shipwrecked in. That is not impossible. You know what I mean? Like, they found these bodies on the side, buried at the side of the Silk Road, the route that was called the Silk Road at the time, and the hot deserty type weather just naturally mummified the bodies, right? And so when they found them, to me, when I looked at them, they looked like mixed race people, as in mixed with white and Chinese. And that's possible too, because if these white people went there and got stranded and it was mostly males, they could have had children with the local Oriental women. It's not impossible, you know? But obviously, if they had, one white parent who was bringing different clothing, they could have given that clothing or given the technique of making that clothing to the children, given that knowledge over, and that's why they were, creating European type textiles. It's not impossible. So, yeah, I don't know. It's so weird, this world. And all I wish and want is for people to just leave people alone. If you can't help them, at least don't harm them. Live and let live, and mind your own damn business. If you don't have anything good to say, shut your damn mouth. Mind your own business. Leave people alone. If you are not going out into the world to help, then go away. Go and mind your own business and leave people alone. Like, it is so important to live and let live, because one day those very people you're being racist to or homophobic to or sexist to might be the one you need to save your life. And then you're going to look to them and they're going to say, no, you called me this disgusting name, you attacked me, you did this to me, why should I save you? And then the sad thing is, if you're a good person, you will just save someone. You won't even, you save them not because they deserve to be saved, but because you are a good person. So I remember a saying I read recently where someone said, be as good as you are, not the way the world is. You know what I mean? So it's like, don't become the evil you're fighting against. Don't become the thing you hate. Anyway, thank you for listening. God bless everyone, no matter what colour you are, no matter what background you are. Be proud of who you are, but do not hate and hurt others because they are not who you are. Let everyone live and let live. And that's all for now. Love and light. I wish you all protection. I hope you all keep safe and have a beautiful, wonderful life. And I wish you all well. Bye for now.